Rachel Ramsey here in the NBC4i Digital Center. Welcome to another episode of Columbus Business Beat. As always, joining me now is Mark Summerson, managing editor of Columbus Business First. Thank you again for joining me, Mark.
My pleasure, Rachel.
So let's get right into it. Of course, with these episodes, we talk about everything business here in Central Ohio. So we always have a few stories to talk about. And today, one of them is a development project that's been canceled at Columbus State. So what's kind of happening with that and why are they scrapping it?
Yeah, it was late last week, they sent out a press release that said they're canceling their Career Development Center on the southeast side of Columbus. They had announced this pretty much exactly a year ago. It's supposed to cost $20 million, and they were going to move construction and first responder majors there. We're talking about 2,600 students who are going to move off the main campus of Columbus State out to this new center where they're going to train them in both construction fields, and there's all kinds of construction fields as well as first responders. They have $300 million that voter-approved bond issue passed a few years ago, and it was kind of a surprise to us that they just quickly announced that this is gone. We made several calls afterwards, finally got a hold of them yesterday, and although they didn't want to do an interview, Columbus State said basically it's rising construction costs, which is kind of ironic because this is a construction education facility in part. But they said they have other priorities that they are working on. They have other projects that they say are going to cost a lot of money, and this one just was going to cost too much.
I was going to say, so this project is gone. Is there any chance of it maybe possibly coming back, getting back on track if costs come down, or they're just done with it?
At this point, they haven't said if they're planning to go back and revisit that and build that facility. So at this point, it's kind of gone. They have other big ones coming up. They have one called the Ohio Health Hall, which is a Franklin Hall, that's a $66.5 million in bond proceeds and a $25 million endowment that Ohio Health is paying for instruction and administrative costs associated with that facility. They're also doing the Franklin Hall renovation. That's a $35 million project, both with bond and state capital dollars. And in recent years, they built their restaurant hospitality center that Cameron Mitchell Restaurants put a lot of money into as well. They are really wanting to work with private companies like Ohio Health and like Cameron Mitchell Restaurants, do these partnerships and create these training centers. In this case, this one sounded just like something. It just sounded perfect for Columbus with all the construction that's going up around here. Also, the need for more first responders as more people move into the area. This one just seemed like a natural, but they looked at the costs. As everybody knows, construction costs have delayed a lot of programs and a lot of projects, and actually a lot of them have just disappeared over the past few years because of that. So this one, we don't know if it's going to come back or not. We'll have to wait to see what Columbus State says. But at this point, it's a little disappointing if you're one of those majors thinking that you were going to have your own training center. They're going to incorporate them back into the regular campus. But that would have freed up a lot of space, 2,600 students worth of space on their main campus downtown. Now they're going to have to work around that and see where to put everything that they're going to build and all the new students that they're expecting.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question about where they were going to house these students. With these new projects that they're focusing on now, is there a certain timeline for when they're going to be completed, or are they kind of like in the first phase of this?
I think they're in first stages of these. They've announced these, and then they said there are a lot of other projects that they haven't even announced yet. They have some on apartment buildings that they're working with downtown. They're leasing some of their land so new apartments can go up. But yeah, we just don't know what that whole list is yet and what their other priorities are. I think in time we'll learn that, and they'll let us know what those bigger projects are and why this one's kind of being shuffled down.
Yeah, and I know you guys will definitely keep us updated for once they do announce those projects. So the next story I want to talk about, Ray Ray's popular barbecue spot has locations across Central Ohio, and now they're expanding with a new location. So is it a standalone restaurant? What's happening with that, and where is it opening?
Yeah, let's go back in time a few years, though, back to the Ace of Cups North Campus on Old Columbus, as they call it, Old North Columbus. And behind Ace of Cups, Ray started out as a food truck. It's really good barbecue. I don't know, Rachel, have you ever tried it before?
I have never tried it, but I've heard great things. I'm surprised I honestly haven't tried it because I don't think there's one near me, but I do love some good barbecue.
It's
so.
good, and they're open like we just teased. They are opening up new ones, so hopefully you'll make it too. It's
Yeah.
funny because we also just did a fairly large Columbus Icon story about City Barbecue, and they've been around for 20 some years now. And when they first started, they were told by some developers, nobody in Columbus will eat brisket. You guys will go flat on your faces and move out of town. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
A lot of barbecue now in Central Ohio. Back to Ray Ray's. They decided to open up their first sit-down restaurant, and that was in Marion, and it opened up in April. And at the time, the owner, James Anderson, he's also the chef, told us that, I'm going to tease you a little. There's another one that we're working on. This one turns out to be in Johnstown, and it's going to open up August 15th. It's got a lot of space in this one. It's fairly big, much more than a food truck, so they can expand the menu. It'll be similar to the Marion menu, so it's got all sorts of stuff on there. The new one is in the former Ghostwriter Public House. This closed in February, and they decided, okay, this is a good fit for us. They have still two food trucks. The one from Ace of Cups moved, and they're now in the Wizard of Zoz site in Clintonville. That's right next to Fusion, which is roll-up food. And then they also have two walk-up drive-throughs, one in Westerville and a service counter in Granville. So they're expanding like crazy, but the brick-and-mortar restaurants, having two of them now in Johnstown and Marion, they're not exactly close to Columbus, but there are still the food trucks, there's the drive-ups, and then there's the Wizard of Zoz takeout. So this is interesting to watch this company that started so small expand so large now. And he said they're still looking for other sites. So I think Ray Ray's is doing very well, and we'll hear a lot more out of them.
Yeah, and I was going to ask too, with this standalone restaurant, is there anything special about this new location compared to the other one? You know, is there going to be like a full service bar, or what can we expect?
Yeah, he said there will be a full service bar there, and there'll be more on the menu than just basically brisket. They're also going to have chicken dinners, and they'll have burgers as well. But yeah, their pulled pork and their beef brisket is just to die for.
I was going to say, I need to try it because I've had City Barbecue, and that's funny that City Barbecue mentioned like, oh, there shouldn't be any more barbecue spots, and then there's like a ton here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yes. So one more question, if you can think off the top of your head, how many locations or food trucks does Ray Ray's have currently?
Well, so you have your two full-service restaurants. You also have two food trucks, one at Franklinton Land Grant and one in Linworth. And then you have the walk-up service in Westerville and a service counter in Granville.
Okay.
So there's still plenty of places to get your barbecue, and two restaurants if you want to do a little driving outside of Columbus, up into Marion and Johnstown if you want a full sit-down, full-service restaurant.
Perfect. Well, I guess I'm going to have to try it here soon. Mark, thanks so much. And of course, we'll be back with more after this break. But coming up here, we'll have NBC4 digital reporters David Reese and Ava Boldazar joining me to talk about more business news around Columbus and Central Ohio, including new ownership for the Polaris Mall, along with a new restaurant and burger shop coming to Central Ohio. We'll be back after this break. And welcome back to Columbus Business Beat. Joining me now are two of my favorite NBC4 coworkers, digital reporters David Reese and Ava Boldazar. So we're going to be talking about, of course, all things business. They write about a couple business stories. We're going to talk about that soon. But first, I want you both to kind of introduce yourselves and talk about your roles here at NBC4 and what other topics you guys talk about other than business. So David, we'll have you start first.
Yes. Well, hello, Rachel. Thank you for having us. Yeah, my name is David Reese. I'm a digital reporter, and I also cover LGBTQ plus issues. You may have seen me on Out in Ohio, NBC4's LGBTQ plus streaming show. But then I also help cover a bunch of other different topics, primarily business and development in Dublin, across Delaware County, around Polaris Fashion Place, and downtown Columbus.
All right, perfect. Ava?
My name is Ava Boldazar. I am also a digital reporter, and outside of business, I mostly cover crime, cold cases, courts, and public safety.
All right, perfect. So we're going to get started with our business talks. So first, we're going to talk about Polaris Fashion Place. That's one of the big malls here in Central Ohio, and it's now under new ownership. So David wrote the story actually on Wednesday. So kind of talk about that and how long the mall was even listed on the market.
Yes, this was just announced yesterday. So Polaris has a new owner. Their name is O'Connor Capital Partners, and they are this massive investment group that owns malls across the country and a couple in Mexico. And they announced yesterday that they had purchased 100% ownership of Polaris after being an investor in the mall for about a decade. And this comes after the mall's previous owner, Washington Prime Group, had announced in April that they were looking to sell Polaris. Now, Washington Prime Group owned a bunch of other malls across the country, including a couple here in Ohio, I believe. And so I'm not quite sure if those malls have also sold, but it's a pretty quick turnaround for Washington Prime Group to announce in April that they were looking to sell Polaris. And then here we are now at the end of July, and they have found a buyer.
Okay, and I was going to ask too, because there's a lot of different stores inside Polaris Mall. Is there any word on what's happening, or does this new ownership impact any of the businesses inside the mall?
Yeah, I think we have yet to see. It's just been a day, and they haven't announced any major changes. No new businesses, no new stores leaving. But one thing that I think was important to note from yesterday's announcement is that O'Connor said that they are working with the existing operation and management team at Polaris. So it's a lot of the same people that have always been there that are helping see this transition through. But yeah, nothing yet on what will happen to the stores or if there's going to be other major changes. But I think it's safe to say that for right now, it's the same Polaris that we all know, just with a different investment group that's in charge.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully it's very seamless and I could still go to my usual stores I go to. Our next story that a lot of people here in Central Ohio, including a lot of people here in the newsroom, are excited about. Cava is coming to Central Ohio. So, David, you also wrote that story. Exactly, for people that don't know, because I see it on social media, a lot of people love it. What is Cava?
Yeah. Cava is a big fast casual chain that's popular in about 28 other states. They have like 400 locations across the country, but they're known for their Mediterranean bowls and wraps. And we mention it today because they're opening right across the street from Polaris. So we found this out from a city permit that the company had submitted to the city of Columbus to sort of review their design in order for them to build the store across from Polaris. And then here at NBC4, we reached out to Cava, and they confirmed that they are, yes, expanding in Ohio. They didn't say that, they're opening that exact location across the street from Polaris, but the city permit pretty much confirms that, yes, they are looking to open that location.
And is there a timeline yet on when we can expect to see it open?
We don't know yet. So that permit had just been submitted in June. So it can take a little bit of time for that to go through that process, get approved. So, it might be a while, probably into next year until we see that location actually open.
I was going to say, I'm super excited about it. I've never had Cava, and I always see it on social media, and people in Ohio on social media have been saying that they have been asking for Cava. I love Mediterranean food, so I'm excited to try. David, have you ever tried it? Or Ava, have you tried it?
I have never had it, and I'm surprised that I haven't, given that it does have 400 locations in a bunch of other states. But I know that Ava loves it. A lot of people in the office love it. I think it's a pretty big thing. I'm surprised I haven't had it.
Yeah.
I have had Cava when I was on vacation in Tennessee, and I think it's super good. I love it. I got the falafel bowl, and it was super good. I'm actually not a huge fan of falafel, but I really like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at these pictures. Look how good that looks.
Well,
delicious.
Try it.
I know a lot of people prefer it over other Mediterranean chains, and some people say it's better than Chipotle, so I guess we'll see,
That's controversial, because a lot of people love Chipotle. I love Chipotle, but I do, like I said, I love a good Mediterranean spot, so I'm excited to try it out once it opens. Now we're going to move on. A new burger shop is opening up in Central Ohio. So Ava wrote a story on that. So kind of tell me, what is this burger shop?
Yeah, so it's called Smash and Eats, and they are mostly serving burgers. They are serving both smash burgers and thick pub-style burgers. And they'll have some other items on the menu, such as chicken wings, chicken tenders, salad, loaded fries.
All kinds of stuff.
I'm
excited for that because I love a good burger. So where is it opening?
Yeah, so it's opening in two places kind of simultaneously. The owner told me that they would both be opening within the next few weeks. He's aiming for before August 1st. And so one of them is opening in Eastside Brewing Co. in Reynoldsburg. And so it's taking over the space that Slab Kitchen was in. And Slab Kitchen was there for 5 years, and they recently just moved to their first standalone standalone restaurant in downtown Reynoldsburg. So it will be taking over that spot in the brewery, and then it is also going to be opening in High Street Kitchens in Clintonville.
And talk about this owner with the burger shop also has another restaurant here in Central Ohio. Talk about that.
Yeah, his name is Ozzy Rogbot, and he also owns Anna Shawarma. So Anna Shawarma is actually also inside the Ghost Kitchen High Street Kitchens in Clintonville. So those will kind of be sharing a space there.
All right, perfect. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add on or talk about before we go to break?
Just that I'm looking forward to kava. I'm excited to try it since apparently it's so good. So
I know.
we'll see.
I will be there.
That's all I've been thinking about is I want to try it because, again, I love everything Mediterranean. David Reese, Ava Boldazar, thank you so much. And, of course, you'll be seeing them make more appearances on future episodes of Columbus Business Beat. We'll be back with more everything about business stories right after this break. All right, and I'm back with Mark joining me again, talking about, again, everything business in Central Ohio. We have one last story to talk about, and if you love pickleball, you're going to like this one, a new pickleball location coming to Central Ohio. So, Mark, tell me more about this chain and where the facility is going to be opening.
Okay, this is called Pickleball Kingdom, and if you know, pickleball sites usually have the word pickleball in it or pickle. This one is Pickleball Kingdom. They call themselves the largest pickleball company in the world. This is going to be very large, 36,000 square feet in Hilliard, 15 indoor courts, will open up next year in 2026. This is their third location in Ohio. There's one in Cincinnati and one in Centerville, but Central Ohio is about to get yet again another pickleball court or a pickleball facility. And yeah, it's pickleball to me, I thought it was kind of like Beanie Babies when it first came out. And people would get tired of it, but there's no tiring of pickleball.
Yeah.
People continue to play. The number of players continues to grow. And Central Ohio is attracting pickleball facilities like, I don't know, Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've only been in Columbus for a little over 3.5 years, and I can't believe how much pickleball has grown. I've never played pickleball. Have you played pickleball?
No, I used to be a tennis player and my knees are shot, so I might take it up someday. I have a lot of friends who do, and there's a lot of executives that we interview around Central Ohio who have taken it up and are obsessed with pickleball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am not very athletic, so I don't know how well I would do at pickleball. There's a reason why I only cheered and danced my entire life. So, I mean, it's all for fun. So you mentioned earlier that this chain, they have other locations, and I know there's at least one other facility in Central Ohio, correct? I think there is somewhere.
With the Pickleball Kingdom?
Yes.
No, this will just be that third. Cincinnati
Okay.
and Centerville, and this is their first entry into Central Ohio.
That's right.
There are a lot of them, though.
Okay.
There's a place called Match Point that's opening up in October. That's going to be 38 courts, a restaurant, 125,000 square feet. That's in a warehouse in East Columbus.
Okay.
There's already, and then Pickleball and Pub, Pickle Park and Pub. That's a lot of P's to get through. That's going to open up in January in Astor Park. That'll have 5 indoor courts. Columbus Parks and Rec have already created 118 courts across the city because they know how popular it is. Some of them are existing tennis courts that have the lines for pickleball because pickleball is a much smaller court but uses the same net. And then some are dedicated pickleball courts that they've created as well. But then we also have Paddle Taps in Worthington, Pickle and Chill in Upper Arlington, the Pickle Shack in Delaware, and then countless others.
Yeah.
If you can't find a pickleball court in your neighborhood, you're not looking very hard because they're everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'm not surprised because it's gotten so popular in the last couple of years. And I know you just mentioned that you play tennis. For those that don't maybe know pickleball, what's kind of the difference between the two? Because to me, they seem very similar.
Well, it's small. The court is smaller, and you play with 4 people. I believe you can't play with 2, but I have no clue.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 people, so it's doubles. The paddles are smaller. They're not stringed. And then you use pretty much a wiffle ball, which is going to go slower than a tennis ball. So I think if you're a little slower and older like I am, it's made for you. I know a lot of older people who do play pickleball, and there are a lot of youngsters too. But yeah, it's become so big and popular because I don't think it's a hard sport to get into. I think getting really good at it takes a lot of practice, but getting into it in the first place, it's like a mix between ping pong and tennis. And you
Yes.
have, and I honestly don't know the rules. I've watched a pickleball a game or two on television. ESPN plays them sometimes. They're interesting to watch, but I don't really understand how to play.
Yeah, I don't either, and it's crazy because some of my friends, they are really active and like to do the sporting stuff, but I have no one that plays pickleball, and I'm honestly surprised by it because again, it's very popular.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know how well I would do. Again, I'm not athletic
I
at all.
think you would play fine. If you're up by the net, that should be okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of range anymore. I have a titanium knee, so I can't go fast, but I think I'd be okay in beginner's pickleball.
Yeah, I might have to try it out. Mark, thank you so much once again for joining me on this episode of Columbus Business Beat. Of course, that's going to do it again for this episode. The show is produced in partnership with Columbus Business First and is available to watch in multiple places. Each week, the program will premiere at 6:30 p.m. on Thursdays on the NBC4 Columbus streaming channel. Now, the app is available for download on smart TVs with Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. The latest episode will also be available for watching on demand under the featured shows section. The program will also be available the following Mondays for additional viewing on NBC4i.com and on NBC4's YouTube channel. Of course, for more information, you can visit our website, NBC4i.com/stream. And of course, for more information about Business First and how you can subscribe, go to columbusbusinessfirst.com, or you can see that QR code on your screen. You can scan it right now for everything Business First in Central Ohio and across Columbus. Of course, we'll see you next week right here on the NBC4 Columbus streaming channel.